There's 5 things that really break down whether you are going to have the capacity to take on more in your life, or whether you are indulging in 5 of these capacity killers. And the biggest things with these capacity killers is that these things will make or break you gaining something more in life, whether it be more finances, whether it be better relationships, whether it be more energy, whether it be a thriving mindset, whether it be a thriving body, or generally just feeling the best you can mentally, physically, and emotionally. Now, the biggest thing here is we have our 5 capacity killers. So if you're not getting enough sleep, this is going to be a huge one, let alone consistently. Decisions, there's a big thing as decision fatigue. Environment, relationships, and internal dialogue. Now, the biggest things with these is that too often, if you do this, you might feel all right if you get these wrong, maybe a day or sometimes a few weeks, but a lot of the time, these are the things that are going to come back to bite you. Now, the biggest thing with sleep is that a lot of the time we need, of course, you read Matt Walker's book, Sleep Matters, and he talks a lot about 8 hours of sleep. Really important, but another aspect that is really important that sometimes overrides is the same time every single night. So waking up at the same time, going to sleep at the same time, because that is what is going to help your circadian rhythm actually really work with you. It's going to help your body essentially like automize how you consistently feel each day. Because if you're ruining your circadian rhythm, you've got overnight shift workers that struggle with this a lot. A lot of the time, because of the inconsistency of going to sleep and waking up and then, having a normal routine, they fly back home, or maybe their roster changes all the time. The biggest thing that is the biggest challenge is that people don't have a consistent wake and sleep cycle. And that is what comes to burn them. Because if your circadian rhythm is out of whack, it's going to ruin the neurochemicals that you need to actually sleep properly, get enough deep sleep. Your nervous system's going to be all out of whack. You're going to be on edge. You're going to be pumping full of cortisol. And it's going to stop you from actually getting into a rested state. And a lot of the time you can sleep, but if you're not getting deep sleep, then your body's actually not going through the processing component it needs to actually, switch off, process all the thoughts, all the physical challenges that maybe you faced on the day, whether it be working out. Your body needs time to process so that it can, of course, reduce inflammation. It can work through the cognitive stresses you've had for the day. And essentially your brain is a supercomputer. So when you're sleeping, that is the processing time it has to actually figure out solutions to maybe some mental struggles that you've had. The other thing is decisions. Too many things at once. You're getting decision fatigue, and it can be as simple as thinking too much on what clothes you're going to wear. It could be as simple as having too many conversations with people. It can be trying to solve too many problems in a day, and you will experience decision fatigue. If you're a high performer, you're going to have a lot of problems that you're solving all the time, and you need to become, one, really effective and efficient at solving problems and using less bandwidth to overcome these challenges that arise, or two, you need to start to reduce the amount of decisions that you've got. Your capacity will always increase, but think of it as levels. Like you're on level 1 here, and to get to level 2, you need to slowly but surely build some steps up to level 2. You can't just go from level 1 and then jump up to 2 if you haven't sustainably worked your way up there step by step. Your capacity is not something you just increase instantly. It's something you have progressive overload. Very much like training, you're going to have the ability to progressively overload your capacity in a safe manner versus going hard up and then crashing down because you didn't sustainably do it. And then your level 1 now becomes your level net 0 or net 5. So we need to understand that things need to be sustainably, progressively overloaded, whether that comes to our decisions, so that we're increasing our capacity over time. When we're looking at decisions, it's really simple. Just start with reducing the amount of things you have to do per day. And if you can't do that, then start to think about how can I more effectively decide on things quicker without using as much brain power, whatever it may be. Environment is another one. Are you in the right environment or are you in the wrong environment? Is your environment where you're working the people that maybe you're hanging around to a degree as well, or where you're living, having a huge impact on you. So if you're in the wrong environment, you'll definitely know pretty quickly. You'll feel tired, you'll feel uninspired, you'll probably get anxious, you'll feel probably depressed, you'll start to just resent being in these environments or feeling like you don't belong. And it's not that you don't belong anywhere, it's that you're in the wrong environment that wasn't created for you. Maybe you need to be in an environment that is gonna pull you up instead of push you up instead of pull you down. That is the biggest thing. And then we've got our relationships, which is a huge one. The people around you speaking death into you, or are they speaking life into you? And if they're speaking death, a lot of the time, you're gonna feel depressed, anxious, you're not gonna feel good enough, you're gonna feel uninspired, you're gonna feel trapped, you're gonna feel like you're not worthy. Now, if you're living with, or you've got relationships with people and they're speaking life into you, they're like, yeah, you're doing amazing, I trust you, I know that you can do it, here's how I've done this, I like how you're doing that, and there's just so much of a supportive network instead of they're trying to break you down. A lot of the time we put ourselves around people that aren't for us because maybe we're trying to rescue them, maybe we feel bad for them, or maybe we just don't realize our own worth and we don't think we're worthy of having a great community. And soon enough, whether you're an athlete, whether you're a business owner, whether you're a leader of some sorts, you will realize who is speaking death into you and who is speaking life into you. And the biggest thing is that you need to remember that it's your choice who you have these relationships with. So are you going to choose someone who speaks death, or are you going to choose someone who speaks life into you? I'm going to choose life. And if you don't hit the requirements of speaking life into me, like you're not supportive, you're not on my team, you're trying to pull me down. If you don't hit the standards that I've set, my boundaries, which we all should have, then you're not going to be in my life. As simple as that. So our last one is internal dialogue. And our internal dialogue can be split into many things. I keep it simple. I'm a big fan of CBT. Some people aren't, some people are. This is going to feed into your CBT and your self-belief. So as a great example, if your dialogue is, I just don't know how to do it, I'm not good enough, I just feel like, I could, if I had this, I'd be able to do it. And there's just some kind of excuse all the time. There's always a problem. It's always someone else's fault. You're always just putting yourself down. You're speaking death into yourself. You're not speaking life. And it goes very much with relationships with other people to an internal dialogue of your own relationship with yourself. The problem is that so many people speak death into themselves. They don't believe in themselves. They don't start to change the narrative of the thoughts that are in their mind. And if we look at cognitive behavioral therapy as an example, cognitive behavioral therapy in its simplest form is how you think will lead into how you speak will then lead into the actions that you take, the actions you take will then lead into the beliefs that you have, and then the beliefs that you have will then turn into your identity. And too often we enable certain words, thoughts, actions, and beliefs that lead us to our own despair. We take away any opportunities, we speak life into ourselves, we're taking actions that go against what we actually want, we're self-sabotaging ourselves to actually increasing our capacity, actually building a version of ourselves that we want to become, because this comes from us taking away any kind of opportunity to increase our capacity because we're so focused on surviving that it takes us away from thriving. Now, if you don't look after these five capacity outlets, so sleep, decisions, environment, relationships, and internal dialogue, like if you're not feeding positive habits and behaviors and routines into these things, then you are going to self-sabotage yourself down a hill, and you are going to go from a level 1 to a hard and fast 2, and then down to the bottom into a net 3, net 5, net 11, whatever it may be. You're just going to be down the ladder. It's very much snakes and ladders here, and you need to go up the ladders accordingly. Don't try and ride the snake. Don't let the snake get you. And the snake really is these capacity killers, and the ladder is you implementing routines, behaviors, positive self-talk, going to the gym, being more effective with your decisions, hanging around the right people, being in the right environment, pulling yourself on internal dialogue that isn't pulling you up in life and it's pushing you down. You have to take responsibility of this, and if you don't, then you have no one else to blame but yourself. So you have to take responsibility. You need to start to be the carer of your own life. Be the caretaker of your own life and treat yourself in a way that if you had someone as a third person view of you, what would you do to look after yourself? What would you do to improve your life? What would you do to start to move the wheel to, as if you were the hero in your own movie, what would you say to that hero at his rock bottom? What would you say to yourself right now? Say that sentence, say that word, take those actions, and start to work towards building really strong foundations in these 8 capacity improvers, not just killers. So this is very much a double-edged sword. You can increase your capacity with these things, or you can completely destroy it. And too often we think, wow, like, you know, it doesn't matter that I've got inconsistent sleep and I'm only getting, 4 hours of sleep. So you're not even hitting the minimum amount of sleep you need, and you're not even being consistent with it. The decisions that you're making, you're just thinking about too many things, and you're overwhelming yourself, and you wonder why you're stressed. You wonder why your bandwidth is so short. You wonder why you feel stuck. And then maybe you're just hanging around the wrong people instead of the right people. Then your relationships. Maybe you're just so stuck in this death cycle of allowing people to speak death over you and treat you in a way that you aren't worthy of. Maybe you're worthy of so much more, which you are, by the way. So if you start to focus and fixate on these things, you can see there's a connection. And then the last one really is in our internal dialogue. Start to catch the thoughts that you have. Start to change the words that you speak. Start to look at the actions that you're taking and replace them with more positive actions that are going to feed your soul, that are going to allow you to be proud of yourself, to be confident in yourself. Start to follow through on the words that you say and see how the confidence in you builds. If you build that relationship with yourself, your nervous system, your self-belief, your ability to handle more stress is going to improve. And if you start to really just hone in one at a time, it doesn't have to be all at once so you overwhelm yourself. Just think, all right, week 1 out of 5, I'm going to start with waking up going to sleep at the same time and waking up at the same time. Week 2, I'm going to start to reduce the amount of decisions that I have. Week 3 might be, I'm going to start to change different environments that I'm in. Week 4, relationships. I'm going to start to hang around more people that speak life into me. And week 5, I'm going to start to catch the thoughts that I have, replace them from negative to positive ones. I'm going to challenge the words that I have and go from negatively speaking to positively speaking. I'm going to only take actions that improve my life for the better and have a positive impact on others. And I will then see that my beliefs will change around my circumstances and my life. And then I will then identify as someone who gets everything I want whenever I want. My capacity improves. I trust myself. I have confidence in myself. I'm not going to allow self-sabotage to take my life. When you start to do those things and you take it 1 week at a time, you will see your life completely change for the better. And it's so simple. Just take yourself for a walk. If you're struggling so much, just go for a walk. You've just done movement. And these are the biggest 5 capacity killers that will ruin your life, or they will increase your life forever. If you want to learn more, leave a comment below, and thanks for listening.